Gran Turismo is a slick, watchable hunk of cross-promotional pablum, a glorified infomercial with bona fide crowd-pleasing horsepower under the hood. What the movie is marketing is its own source material, the wildly popular series of racing games that make up one of PlayStation's biggest franchises. On the off chance that anyone in the audience isn't already a fan, the film makes like a pushy car dealer, rattling off key features and waxing poetic about the genius of Polyphony Honcho and Gran Turismo creator Kazunori Yamauchi. The roar of engines eventually drowns out the sales pitch, though there's still room for some product placement between bursts of stirring sports movie cliché.
If you miss a line in the game, you reset. You miss it on the track, you could die.
This might be the first video game adaptation that's also based on a true story, namely that of Jan Mardenborough, a British teenager who got the opportunity to convert his adolescence behind the virtual steering wheel into a career of turning left at dangerously high IRL speeds. Gran Turismo plays fast and loose with the details of his unlikely Cinderella story, conforming it to a familiar beat-the-odds trajectory. Naturally, the first person young Jan has to prove wrong is his father.
Look around. It's not our world, son.
But Gran Turismo isn't just any old driving game, it's an advanced driving simulator, someone explicitly clarifies, one of several lines of dialogue that feels like a note from Sony Interactive Entertainment. "I played the game and it's remarkable," Orlando Bloom says in the role of ambitious Nissan executive Danny Moore. Loosely modeled on GT Academy founder Darren Cox, Danny promises the suits that recruiting players into the professional racing circuit will help attract an untapped market of potential car buyers, which is probably some version of the line that got this movie made too. Bloom plays these scenes like he's starring in his own air-like corporate biopic within Gran Turismo. Winning the qualifying multiplayer match, Jan, played by Archie Madokwe, drifts into an extended basic training montage that's like Top Gun in miniature, complete with an inexplicably hostile Iceman-like Academy rival played by Darren Barnett. He also falls under the skeptical, tough-love tutelage of a veteran race car driver played by David Harbour.
You puked on my lawn.
Continuing his mission to improve every middling Hollywood franchise play to which he's attached, Harbour sells all the hackneyed mentor business, the aging legend saltiness, the pit stop pep talks, the eventual transformation into a true believer. If the movie occasionally grazes the genuine soul of something like Rocky, he's a big reason why. An opening showroom documentary about Gran Turismo feels like it was smuggled out of a stockholders meeting and bears the mark of director Neill Blomkamp, he of District 9 fame and Chappie infamy.
I am Chappie.
More than a decade after his plans for a big screen Halo fell apart, Blomkamp has finally fulfilled his destiny to make a video game movie. It's the right lane for him. Absent of any overreaching aspirations to allegory, Gran Turismo benefits from his 21st century need for speed, which cuts the rise to fame boilerplate into a propulsive flurry. At first, you wonder if the filmmaker has the chops for the gig. An early joyride getaway is hard to follow, and Blomkamp makes the rather boneheaded unforced error of montaging straight through Jan's first time in the driver's seat, which should have the awe of a religious experience, not the skippable anticlimax of a cutscene. But the director acquits himself well during the actual race sequences, which steadily escalate into pageants of deafening sound and breathtaking velocity. Blomkamp jumps all over the racetrack, swooping overhead via dramatic drone shots, pulling in tight on the tense faces of the drivers, fetishizing the ins and outs of the automobile. He stylistically freeze-frames position changes, merging authentic race logistics with the visual language of the games. And he gives a late freak accident a scary majesty, though where the crash arrives in the timeline of events is yet another way that the movie fudges facts. Gran Turismo has the hum of a modern blockbuster machine, but its storytelling mechanics are decidedly old school. It's a rags-to-riches fairy tale simulator. Jan, the quintessential underdog, has to overcome not just his own doubts, but also those of the snooty European race royalty and even his own naysaying pit crew.
Much easier with a joystick, isn't it?
It's him versus the whole money-buys-ranking pro-racing establishment, though it's pretty rich positioning multinational behemoths Sony and Nissan as the scrappy little guys. The movie eventually goes full Ford PvP Ferrari with a climactic bid for respect at the world's most notoriously challenging race, 24 Hours of Le Mans. What we're watching ultimately is a wish fulfillment fantasy, albeit one drawn from the real-life leaderboards. Jan, whose hours upon hours of digital experience gives him a new outlook on racing, is himself a walking pedal-pressing commercial for the benefits of logging time with a controller. Not since video games help with your hand-eye coordination has the target demo been gifted a more convincing case for the tangible benefits of their pastime. Play enough games, Gran Turismo says, and maybe you too can have a future in motorsport. So long as those games, of course, boast the stunning graphics, amazingly realistic car mechanics, and endless customization options of Gran Turismo 7, now available for the low price of $49.69.
It's not gonna work. The guys who race are elite athletes. Your kids are scrawny little gamer kids.
That's where you come in.
Neill Blomkamp brings an appealing speed and cornball enthusiasm to his first video game adaptation. The film is pure sports movie hokum, done with just enough conviction, much of it courtesy of David Harbour, to help you ignore how relentlessly Gran Turismo advertises its own source material. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and The Meg 2. And for everything else, stick with IGN.